Imagine a perfect world. 8 residents are given unlimited food, unlimited water, and absolute safety. There are no predators, no harsh weather, and no diseases of any kind. 5 years later, every single one of them is dead, and not a single death was caused by anything a veterinarian could actually diagnose. This was the work of John Calhoun, an American scientist who had spent 20 years chasing a very specific question. He wanted to know exactly what happens to a society when nothing is hard anymore. In 1968, he got his final answer at the National Institutes of Health. He built a 9-foot square enclosure, complete with stacked walk-up apartments and constantly refilled hoppers. He calculated this space could comfortably support around 3,800 mice. This chart tracks the initial population explosion. He placed 8 founders inside and shut the lid. For the first 100 days, they settled in. Then the first litters were born, and the population doubled every 55 days. Within a year, over 600 animals were swarming the ramps and filling up the apartments. From the outside, the colony looked like a thriving success story. But this massive physical abundance was hiding a quiet structural flaw, a limit they were rapidly approaching, even with plenty of food left to eat. In a normal environment, when a mouse population outgrows its territory, the younger surplus males leave. They emigrate to find new ground. Inside, universal needs, food, water, shelter, are easily met. But with no new space to claim, social roles ran out entirely. Young males had no territory to defend, no females to court. They formed listless pools in the center of the enclosure, completely idle. Calhoun called the resulting breakdown a behavioral sink. Even with hundreds of identical, fully stocked food hoppers available, the mice developed a compulsive need to eat together. They violently crowded around a few specific feeders, while identical ones inches away sat ignored. The presence of others became permanently wired into their feeding instinct. At the same time, the family structure dissolved. The older males, who actually had territory, became too exhausted to continuously patrol it. They stopped protecting their nests. This forced nursing mothers to defend the young themselves. Under that constant stress, mothers began abandoning their pups across the enclosure, and in the worst cases, turning on them. The mice had everything they needed to survive physically, but without a specific job or role to fill, the social fabric dissolved. The colony began aggressively tearing itself apart. From this chaos emerged a new generation Calhoun named the Beautiful Ones. These were males who completely opted out of the species. They never fought, they never mated, and they never engaged socially. They did nothing but eat, sleep, and obsessively groom their pristine coats. Externally, they were the healthiest specimens in the room, but their nervous systems had developed inside a closed loop, where every possible social function was already occupied. Unable to socialize, they were functionally dead. This chart reveals the abrupt end of the colony's growth. Despite having enough physical space and food for nearly 4,000 lice, the population hit an invisible wall at 2,200. On day 920, the final successful conception occurred. After that point, not a single new mouse was born. The surviving adults simply aged. The isolated females stayed hidden in the upper apartments, the beautiful ones kept grooming, and the isolated pockets of violence continued aimlessly. One by one, they died of old age, with 0 replacements coming up behind them. 4 years and 10 months after the experiment began, the final resident died. Calhoun wrote that these animals had suffered 2 deaths. The first was the death of the spirit, and it happened years before the biological death of the body. They had absolute safety and infinite resources, but physical survival without a psychological purpose results in a slow, quiet extinction. When the paper was published, the world panicked. Urban planners, politicians, and religious leaders took one look at Universe 25 and assumed the obvious. Dense cities and physical comfort destroy modern life. They saw a direct warning about human overpopulation. But that reading missed Calhoun's actual conclusion. The food and the water never killed the mice. The true cause of the collapse was the disappearance of meaningful roles. When the population outpaced the supply of useful jobs, the entire structure evaporated. It highlights a strange paradox. A certain amount of friction, The effort required to build a nest, secure a territory, or forage for a meal is exactly what gives an individual a reason to participate in their environment. Calhoun spent the rest of his career trying to solve this trap. He believed humans could easily avoid the fate of the mice through a concept he called ideational generativity. When physical space fills up, mice are trapped. Humans, however, extend outward into conceptual spaces. By inventing new ideas and building entirely new environments, like art, science, and digital networks, we infinitely generate new roles, ensuring we never run out of meaningful jobs. Universe 25 was a perfectly designed trap, but only for an animal completely incapable of inventing its own meaning. When the physical walls closed in on the mice, they had no options left. We are not bound by the dimensions of a 9-foot box. As long as we keep building our own purpose, the human story continues.